have the Lone Wolf, Trizano, and we have Sting, Seung Choi. This fight is interesting because Trizano won the Ultimate Fighter back in, when was this, split decision, 2018. And nobody knows or cares. Like, have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Nobody.
I think there's a lot of guys who won the Ultimate Fighter. I don't think people care about the Ultimate Fighter as much as they used to.
Oh, that's been like that for a long time, unless there's just a special, absolute, like, Muhammad Usman. People kind of care about him. But, I mean, if he wasn't on that season, I don't think anybody really would have watched it, man. Truth be told. And a lot of people didn't feel like Mike even won this fight. And so this is back to that Ricky Tercios thing where it's like, this your Ultimate Fighter and ain't nothing really special about him. He ain't a standout. Now, he lost to Grant Dawson, Hakeem Dawodu, Lucas Almeida. Those are not bad losses, man, because Hakeem is 12-2, Lucas Almeida is 13-1, and Grant Dawson at the time was 13-1. Well, I'm gonna say at the time that was their records. That's not bad.
It's just the fact that if you look at the scorecards, his output is not there. It's just how he's getting beat. It's not like he's losing like close fights. I think Hakeem landed almost twice significant strikes than he did.
Bro, is this the fight from earlier this year where Hakeem looked incredible?
Yeah.
When he looked like they could have been fighting in the top 10, and then the next fight, it was like, okay.
Yeah.
But, man, you know, I didn't even realize at the time that that's who this was. When I was watching that fight, I was like, man, this dude look incredible. Hakeem, I didn't realize he was beating the Ultimate Fighter winner from Tough 27. And Mike's game is not bad. He's just a generalist. And it seemed to me like he actually should start focusing on getting fights to the ground, because when he fought Ludovic Klein, he almost submitted him at the last second. But it's like, why would you wait till the last second to start implementing the ground game and almost finish the fight? And now you're going to a decision where you don't know, you might get robbed by split decision.
He did the same thing against Lucas Almeida.
Nah, Lucas wasn't playing that though.
No, but I'm saying at the end of the first round, he dropped Lucas. Nobody talk about that. He dropped him. He dropped him, but he didn't do nothing. It's like, bro, that was your opportunity to win this fight. And then what happens? He dropped you, bro.
End up getting.
No, he actually dropped him twice.
2 or 3 times.
He dropped him, and I think in the third round, he didn't let him recover. And it was like, bro, like he did the same thing to you that you should did to him.
It's just
he's something I don't know, bro. If it's weird. It's mental, but it's not toughness. It's not toughness, bro. He's tough. It's just.
Oh, I'm saying it's just something about him as a fighter. He's not bad. He's decent on the feet. I think he's a little bit more decent on the ground than he is on the feet.
You want to tell you what it is?
But it's something that's missing.
You want to tell you what's missing? It's not nothing's missing. I'm going to tell you exactly what's wrong with him. Because what happened, bro? Like, he won Ultimate Fighter. He was undefeated. What happened? He ran to Grant Dawson, right?
Yep.
Between the year 2019 to 2021, before his Ludovic fight, he had 2 knee surgeries. And he also, this was 2020, so what happened? He got COVID. So he had 2 knee operations. I had to Google it because I couldn't find it, because I didn't even know what ligament he had surgery on because I couldn't find it. He had 2 knee surgeries in between the year 2019 and between 2021. So and then he had an ankle injury before the Ludovic fight, bro. So he really was like a shell of his former self.
That makes sense.
And that's why he fights the way he does, because he don't want to get too aggressive.
Yeah. And it's like, you know how when you mess up your knee, it's hard to, you don't want to put too much on it, basically.
Yeah.
That makes sense, man. Because I was trying to figure out, because it's like, he ain't a terrible fighter. It just seemed like something was off. I just couldn't really pinpoint it.
So he won the Ludovic fight. And
oh, man.
I don't know why he took the Hakeem fight after that. That's a big step up in competition. That's kind of odd, man, because Hakeem, yes, you can say what you want to about Hakeem, but he has top 10 talent. I don't know why he's not.
I don't know, top 15, but he shows up against certain people and certain people he don't. But one thing is, this is a bad matchup for him. Because this dude, he only got one way to win. And if you look at his losses, Joshua, Coulibaly, I mean, a split decision loss to him, and we know how Joshua fights. That's not bad.
No. Did you see the fight, bro? That first round is like one of the best rounds ever. It's crazy because where were they? Texas. What when Glover fought Jerry? Were they in Texas somewhere?
No, that's not. No, we watched this fight, man. That was in Singapore.
No, I'm saying I don't know where they were. That's why. Okay, because whenever Seung Woo threw a punch, the crowd was crazy. Okay, that kind of made sense. But the thing is, at the end of the first round, he got dropped by Joshua, and then I think he got dropped again, and then he went in, and then he actually turned it up at the end of the first round, and he hurt Joshua at the end of the first round. It was just back and forth, bro. The crowd was going crazy. And like, I saw the fight today, man, and I forgot that happened. They just went back and forth, bro. That first round was crazy, but it just, hey, Seung got the dog in him, man.
He do.
He really do, man. Like,
and losing a split decision ain't the worst thing in the world. And then, and I'm looking at this. Okay, so I never understand why they got this weird thing where they just give, they feed Alex Caceres these fighters who don't need to be in there. Like, if you ain't had 10 fights yet, hey, you don't need to be in there.
But me and you saw this fight live. Do you remember when they fought? That's the fight where he hurt Alex and he dropped him.
And but then Alex got back.
No, he dropped Alex in the first round, and then Alex stood back up and he did an illegal knee. You remember? Then it gave Alex some time to recover, and then I believe in the second round, Alex took his back real fast
and choked him out standing up.
Like this should have been a knockout.
Was that the one when he stood up? Took his back when he was standing up?
Oh yeah, he was against Cage.
Yeah.
This supposed to be a win for Seung, but Seung, whatever, man. Just
do he speak English? Is there a language barrier going on? Because see, I was on Mike Trizano. About something.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the injuries, but something seemed to be off about Seung, but it ain't a mental thing about as far as having the dog in him.
Yeah.
It seemed like IQ and fight decision making in fights seemed to be
kinda, but he really, it's weird. He's on a 2-fight losing streak now, but then he was on a 3-fight win streak before. But prior he was on a 2-fight losing streak, man. So he's just up and down. So his record is like a roller coaster ride. But I don't think it's mental. I just think that
he don't have discipline. He's like a young, you know how fighters get too aggressive and they make bad decisions and it costs them. And it's like, if you go really look at his record, he probably should have won this fight. He probably could have won the Alex fight. He could be on a nice little win streak right now, essentially.
And the monster fight.
So it's just like, 2 or 3 of these losses on his record, man, but they are there for a reason because of his decision making. And so I have to factor that into this fight.
A lot of these fights, man, I hate to say this, man, but he getting laid and prayed on, like, let me see, how many times did Gavin take him down?
Well, the Mawsar fight that's all Mawsar could do. I mean, he didn't want nothing that stand up. But I'm really looking at I'm looking at the most recent fights, man. When he beat
Mawsar took him down 5 times. Gavin took him down 5 times. Yusuf, well, we know how Yusuf fight. That's all he can do. Took him down 3 times. Those really his worst performances, to be honest, man. And they really taking him down and holding him down.
Well, they can't even really hold him down because he do get up. That's why so many takedowns. But even when he's defending takedowns, he don't understand to defend the takedown and then separate.
I see what you're saying.
Like, he'll defend the takedown and then stand in the same spot and then get taken down again.
You know why he do that, man? I think he does this because the grappling is there. He want to show it. But it's like, bro, you got to win this fight because you're going to end up losing because he got a couple of decision losses where he barely lost because of that, man.
Because Alex Caceres and Mawsar ain't the people you want to show no type of grappling against. These are the people you want to keep this fight standing up.
Well, we see why they fight him like that too, man.
I know because he do have one punch knockout power, and he do put people to sleep, and it is kind of, it can be kind of bad. So I do think that he'll probably be able to get the best of Mike Trizano because Mike can wrestle, but he don't. And now that I'm learning about the injuries, I just take down saying what you want to do.
When Michael fought against who was his last fight? When Michael fought against Lucas. If there was ever a time to go for takedown. But he was, though, man. Like, he didn't land on. Okay, it says he was 0 for 0. But when I watched the fight, he would try to go for the takedown, but he just couldn't put himself in position. Because he'd get him against a cage, and he'd try to, like, use the cage to take him down, but it just wouldn't work, man. It just looked off. Something was off, man.
You know how non-wrestlers, when they try to wrestle, like DC and Dominic talk about this all the time. People try to, like, when you go for your takedowns, you want to change levels. You don't stack people against the cage and hunch and bend over, and then think you're just gonna push, like you think you're just gonna pick somebody up with your lower back strength. That's not wrestling. That's MMA wrestling. That's undisciplined. That it's just, you know how we were saying MMA striking is bad.
Yeah.
MMA wrestling is bad too.
Yeah.
And real wrestlers, that's why they dominate, because they actually go for real takedowns, and they help them even in bad and tough situations. They can still get that takedown.
You want to tell you why though? Because I think a lot of fighters, they train wrestling all the time, and sometimes you can, like, when you do something for a long time, you naturally will get better at it, right? But if you do something for 3 years, but you never develop the right technique, you might get better with the wrong technique, if that makes sense.
But down the wrong path, and it might work sometimes, but then other times it'll cost you, because pressing somebody up against the cage and thinking that you're just gonna bend down and get under the hips and then lift them up in the air and get a takedown, that's not wrestling. Like, that's not how you're supposed to do that. And I don't think he's gonna be able to do that to Seung Woo Choi at the end of the day. I wouldn't be surprised if Seung put him away. The only way I see Seung losing is probably a way he can lose, mental lapses, and just really messing up somewhere, which he's very capable of doing it.
And Seung, he really been out-grappled bad twice, and that was against Mavsar and Gavin.
I think in 2020.
Yeah, I don't think Michael Trizano has the wrestling pedigree to do that to Seung, because there were fighters who tried to take Seung down, and they end up on their back themselves too.
Yeah.
So his grappling, he got like that Drew Dober thing where he kind of can stuff. He kind of has the grappling pedigree, but it's just like not polished enough to do it consistently.
Brad Riddell does that too, man. Where like you think like, oh, I'm gonna just get him to the ground, but then when you start trying to wrestle him, it's actually more difficult than you realize. Man, when I say Mavsar didn't do nothing in that fight but go for takedowns, he did nothing. Like, I don't even think you should be able to do that and get the fight scored for you, because it's like, what? You ain't passing guard, you ain't going for submissions, you literally just getting takedowns and holding somebody there.
Hey, of all people, Seung got a knockout over Julian Erosa. Of all people, man.
And it was quick and it was fast. And
so he hurt Alex. So he got a bunch of knockdowns. Like, he knocked down Suman. He knocked down Julian. He knocked down Alex Pereira.
But Mike Trizano, low-key, he did drop Lucas Almeida. And low-key, Mike Trizano striking, because he did stumble Ludovic Klein. I do remember he stumbled him for a split second. But he just didn't do nothing after that.
I know he did.
And then, again, with these decisions, you just never know.
That's not his style, man. I saw this video, like, he's too technical. I saw this video of him hitting the heavy bag, man. He would just jab, and it'd be right hook. It'd be jab, it'd be body kick. And it's like, that's cool, but when you get in an actual fight, man, you can't look like he kind of almost like a robot when he fights, man. You got to pull the trigger, man. Like, you can't be overly technical, because if you overly technical, man, you're going to lose. Like, because the person you fighting against, they're going to be more aggressive than you.
And then they know that you're not fighting past a certain level. Like, that's just you know how when Jerry fought Dominic Reyes, how he just kind of, remember that, like, when he just bit down, he was like, I'm finna just put it on you. You don't have to worry about that with Mike Trizano. Seung will try to do that, and he'll try to knock you out. I'm going with Seung by TKO round 2 or 3.
See, I think it's a combination of his style and also the injuries and surgeries, man. And then they're undisclosed, because you can't Google. It's a big difference, like, knowing which ligaments you had surgery on. You know what I mean? We don't know if it's the same knee. I don't know if it's the same knee. I don't know if it's 2 different knees, 2 different ligaments. I don't know if it's the same injury, the same ligament that he had surgery on multiple times. I just know that he had 2 knee surgeries. And, like, he's kind of, like, not really talking about it, but it's like, for him to be keeping it a secret, man, it might be something that's, like, serious.
Yeah, man, I don't know, man. Sometimes,
because you had the ACL surgery, man.
Now, I hate to say this, man, but some of these Ultimate Fighter winners, after a certain point, I think there was a string of years where a lot of us just stopped watching Ultimate Fighter, because there was no special talent coming out of there. That's why Dana White did create the Contender Series. We can't pretend like he didn't make the Contender Series for a reason. And I think that Mike is kind of falling into that category of Ultimate Fighter winners that just kind of came and went, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you kind of won it at a time where it wasn't a lot going on as far as, like, talent.
I see what you're saying, man, but like it's kind of like we can say the same thing with the Contender Series, man. Like a lot of these guys, they win the Contender Series, or they win their fights on the Contender, but they don't do nothing with that.
But the thing is, the Contender Series ain't a tournament.
Yeah,
it's not. It's made for one person to come off the Ultimate Fighter, and you're supposed to do something with it. Ideally, on the Contender, you getting a chance, and so when you got the Jamal Hills and you got the who else came out the Contender? Man,
Sean
O'Malley's, bro. Like nobody cares about the other people who didn't get contracts that episode because it wasn't for them. Like, okay, there were other people who also got contracts too who came to the UFC and they might not have done nothing or did as much, but the fact remains is these people are doing something, and so that's what it's for. But when you won Ultimate Fighter and you ain't really like him and Ricky and some of the other people, what was the other dude? Colton something.
Oh yeah, the guy
Colton Smith or something.
No, Robert Whitaker beat.
No, it was.
Remember, Robert knocked out one of the guys that won Ultimate Fighter.
Let me see here, man. It's just like I don't know, man. They was just like a.
Robert Whitaker knocked him out.
Well, like, why did they ever make that fight? If that's true. Yeah, man. This just didn't even.
Did Robert beat him?
Yeah, bad. And it's just like
fast too, right?
No, it was third round. I mean, he's a good wrestler, but it's just like there was a point in time where the Ultimate Fighter value just kind of went down, and the talent wasn't really there. He kind of won it in one of them seasons, man.
You know what I think his issue is? It's kind of odd saying this, but I think he's a little bit entitled too. Because when he be fighting, he be looking like he's supposed to win. It's like, bro, you got to win. You have to, like, I know you want Ultimate Fighter, bro, but you have to still win this fight.
And he don't have, in the Ultimate Fighter, they used to give Forrest Griffin some good matchups and stuff like that, but now it's too many people in the sport, man. Like, you're gonna get crushed out there. Nobody owes you nothing just because you won Ultimate Fighter. You got that by split decision. You weren't really supposed to get that, you know. And then your next fight was a split decision. It's like but now look at you losing. And I think the next few losses is gonna be knockouts, man. Unfortunately. And
then he won the Ultimate Fighter it was the featherweight division, right?
Yeah, that's terrible.
So it's like it ain't the most competitive weight class. Let's be real.
No, that was 155, and
he won it. He
dropped
that's a
down. Bad division, man.
Okay. So after he beat Ludovic, he dropped down to featherweight.
Yeah. No, he fought Ludovic at 145.
Okay, so
then Grant Dawson is lightweight. So
then he felt like I can stay. He probably didn't go back up to lightweight.
He fought Grant Dawson at featherweight.
No, at lightweight. They fought at lightweight. I know Grant didn't make featherweight.
There's no way. This says featherweight.
Grant is not a. There's no way.
It says on Tapology. It says, look, Grant Dawson, featherweight.
That's odd.
So, you know, another thing that hurts Mike, he don't have killer instinct. Even when he hurt people, because he ain't got the most knockout power, but I have seen him hit people hard and rock them or drop them or something.
And don't do nothing.
And he won't do nothing with it. And I think Seung is just gonna beat him. Now Seung had these mental lapses, man, where he just, I don't know what the thought process is. He just do stuff in the cage. He remind me of almost like, remember how Husamar Pajarez just used to do. He used to get weird outcomes, and it was like,
who you talking about?
Yeah, Seung. He reminds me of that, like that mentality, like even Yoel Romero. You know how he'll do like weird stuff, and it's like, dude, what are you doing? I mean, he may get away with it because of his athleticism. But Seung, it's like, it's led to a few losses, man. It's like, you can't afford to be going in there and hitting people with illegal knees or da-da-da. You need to, look, you got to put it together, man. And I think that Mike is the person to put it together on. I don't see Seung going super far, don't get me wrong. But however far I see Seung going, I see Mike not even making it that far. And he'll be behind Seung.
Another thing is, Seung really only had like 1 or 2 real bad performances. Oh man, I can't pick Michael, man. I don't care the other guy. Seung, he's gonna go for knockout at least.
He gonna try.
Yeah,
he's gonna try, and that alone is kind of enough for me, man. And this ain't like no top. This ain't no top 10 or top 15 or even a top 20.
Yeah.
So ain't no point of overthinking this one.